Hoka next. Jared with Hoka and Emily from Outside PR. And hi, Emily.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. Really happy to be doing this. This is a lot of fun.
That was such a cool presentation. The GIF of the shoe decomposing will stick with me.
I know, it's amazing. I've watched it a million times already.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you. All right. Hi, guys. My name is Emily Banks, and I am a PR director at Outside PR. I'm joined today by Jared Smith, product line manager at Hoka. And today we're going to be presenting the new shoes for spring 2022 from Hoka. Jared, thanks for joining me. How are you today?
Doing great. Good to see you, Emily. Thanks.
Yeah. So Jared, how long have you been with Hoka?
It's hard to imagine, but it's been a little over 5 years now. It's really flown by, and the growth of the brand and our line has just been a joy to be a part of. So excited to share some updates for spring.
Wow. Yeah. Hoka has grown so much over the past few years. It must be cool to be a part of, for sure.
Definitely.
But before we dive into the latest products, I want to take a minute to talk a little bit about who Hoka is and what we're all about. So at its core, Hoka is a brand that strives to empower a world of athletes to fly over the earth. We genuinely believe that everyone is an athlete, and we really want people, everyone really, to feel represented in our brand. This theme of authentic representation is really key to everything we do, from the stories we tell, the products we develop, and really all the decisions that we make. We hope, or we really strive to use our platform and our privilege to amplify different experiences, different stories, and different perspectives wherever we go. Something that you'll hear me say a lot throughout our presentation today is the ride. Hoka's ride is something that's super unique and super special, and it's something that we're really, really proud of. We often hear from people trying Hoka for the first time that they've never experienced anything like it. So with that in mind, we are really excited to unveil some exciting innovations for spring 2022, from brand new products for the collection, as well as exciting updates to fan favorite franchises. We hope these new products will inspire you too to join us as we fly over the earth. Now, before I jump into products, please utilize the chat function in this presentation, because we will have a Q&A section at the end where we can answer all of your questions. So I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to talk us through 3 new road running shoes, and then I'm going to pass it over to Jared, who's going to run everyone through 2 trail runners, as well as some exciting hikers. Let's get into it. So I want to kick things off with a bang by talking about a brand new product from Hoka for spring 22, the Kawana. If you've been to Australia, you might recognize this name. It comes from a super popular beach on the Gold Coast, known for its white sand and really soft underfoot feel. This is part of the Glide collection from Hoka, along with the Bondi 7, and it actually takes a lot of cues from the Bondi and how it fits and feels. When you try on the Kawana, you're going to immediately notice how soft it is underfoot. It has a super plush cushion, a really, really smooth heel to toe transition, and just a really, really comfortable overall fit. In terms of the specs, we have a 30 millimeter heel, 25 millimeter toe, which makes for a 5 millimeter drop. To compare to the Bondi, which I think is a useful frame of reference anytime you're talking about the Glide franchise, that's going to be a slightly smaller stack, but a bigger drop. In terms of weight, it's also a bit lighter than the Bondi. A men's 9 is going to come in at 10 ounces, and a women's is going to come in at 8.4 ounces. But what really sets the shoe apart is what makes it different from the rest of the Glide franchise. And that's really in the brand new foam that's utilized in this shoe. It's a new foam for Hoka. It's our softest foam to date. And we're really, really excited to see it out there. It's going to feel a little bit more responsive than the Bondi, but it doesn't sacrifice on that durability. And again, it's going to be a super soft ride. Combine that foam with the swallowtail in the back, which is kind of inspired by the Mach franchise, as well as the extended crash pad and that early stage meta rocker. You'll get just a really smooth kind of effortless gliding sensation that'll really propel you through your run. Now moving up through the shoe, the upper is pretty special as well. We have, I'll hold it up close so you can really see it. It's a super, super light, super breathable vegan jacquard mesh. It's actually made from recycled materials, which is something we're pretty proud of as well. Hoka is incorporating more and more recycled and sustainable materials throughout its product designs. So you'll be hearing more and more about that with Hoka throughout the seasons. So while we're on the top, while we're talking about the upper, the other key feature to notice is in the Achilles area back here. It's kind of this memory foam-like material that really locks the foot into place. So you're really secure, but it's also really comfortable. So Kawana, who is this shoe designed for? It's really designed for anyone who wants a super soft, super comfortable ride. We see the shoe being really popular amongst people who want kind of a do-it-all runner. You can go on runs, you can go to the gym, you can walk to brunch and know that you're going to look good and feel good throughout your day. It's also a great shoe for someone training for a half marathon or maybe a full marathon who wants something really soft but also durable. The Kawana is going to be available on January 15th, and it's going to retail for $140. All right. Our next shoe typically gets a big production every time we launch. It's the shoe that propelled our very own athlete, Jim Walmsley, to set the 50-mile world record in 2019 and come just 17 very painful seconds short of the 100K world record just this past January. I am, of course, talking about the Carbon X. We are so excited to unveil the new Carbon X3 for the very first time today. You guys are seeing it for the first time. And here it is in all its glory. Anytime you update a shoe as celebrated as the Carbon X, it's going to be challenging, right? But we're so excited because this shoe really has so many big advancements that we think you guys are going to love it even more than its predecessors. So before we dive into the key updates, of which there are a few, I want to talk a little bit about, what is the Carbon X? So the Carbon X is a hyper-propulsive, hyper-cushioned shoe that incorporates a super innovative carbon plate to really propel you through your stride. The gait cycle of the Carbon X3 is actually very similar to the second and first iteration, in that it's really made for everything from a Jim Walmsley style 62-mile run at a 5:20 pace, which is insane, to a marathon training or really any distance training where you want that cushion but do want that speed as well. So the key updates. Perhaps the most exciting is the foam that's utilized in the Carbon X3. Again, this is a brand new foam for Hoka. It's different foam from the Kawana. This is the most propulsive, lightest weight foam to date from Hoka. So what does that mean? This shoe is going to be more propulsive than previous iterations, which means it's going to feel a lot faster. In addition, there are a lot of weight savings with this shoe. The Carbon X2 came in at 8.4 ounces for men, 7 for women, and this cuts all the way down to 7.8 for men and 6.6 for women. So that's significant weight savings, right? It's really going to feel like there's nothing on your foot. It's like a complete extension of your stride. So that foam combined with a full carbon plate, as well as a rubberized EVA outsole, it's just going to make for a super fast, super comfortable cushioned ride. Working up from the bottom of the shoe into the upper, perhaps the most visual update here is in that knitted upper. For those of you who tried out the first few iterations of the shoe, you know that the Carbon X1 had a bit of an unstructured upper. And although the second iteration definitely addressed that, the third really hits it on the head. The knit upper really kind of molds the shape of your foot for a super locked in, super secure fit at speed. So you won't ever have to think about your foot. It'll just feel like it's a part of you as you're running. Couple that with this extended heel tab in the back. It just makes it super easy to get in, but again, really secure fit. In terms of the stack height, we have a 32 millimeter heel, 27 millimeter forefoot for a 5 millimeter drop. And how does it compare to other shoes in the Fly franchise? So compared to the Mach 4, for instance, this shoe is going to feel a bit firmer underfoot, but it's going to provide more cushion. Compared to the Rocket X, which is another shoe in the Hoka collection that has a carbon plate. This one is going to be better for maybe longer pushes or, you know, your training miles, whereas the Rocket X is a really good shoe for perhaps like a race day for a marathon. The Carbon X3 is going to be available on April 1st, and it's going to retail for $200. All right, we talked soft and smooth, we talked fast and furious, and next shoe we're going to talk fast and fun. But before we dive in, I want to provide a little bit of background on the Mach franchise. I've mentioned it a few times. It's a really important and an interesting one for Hoka. The Mach franchise originally launched in spring of 2018, and the Mach 1 was a fast, light, snappy shoe, really made to go really quick on the roads. And it fell a little flat. Hoka fans weren't used to the lack of cushion, and the second and third iterations really only had modest improvements, and they fell a little flat as well. Enter the Mach 4, and I apologize, this is like my personal running shoe, so it's a little scuffed up, but you know, bear with us. The Mach 4 was just the perfect balance of speed and lightweight and cushion, and the running community went nuts over this shoe. It won 2 Editor's Choice Awards from Runner's World, a Gear of the Year from Runner's World, Best Road Running Shoe 2021 by Outside, and that's really just the tip of the iceberg. This shoe nailed it. There were all sorts of innovations that went into, you know, this being that perfect balance, from the swallowtail, which we've mentioned, the ProFly midsole, super comfortable, really wonderful foam that didn't slow you down. It sped you up in just the right way. Mach 4 was it. So for our next shoe, which is coming out in spring of 2022, we took all of the things you know and love about the Mach 4 and we supercharged it in the Mach Supersonic. And before you worry, don't worry, the Mach 4 is not going away. Think of these as sibling shoes, where this Mach Supersonic is the super speedy sibling. So, like I said, the Mach Supersonic combines all of those features you love from the Mach 4, from the swallowtail to that really perfect fit and feel, the speed, everything. But it adds a brand new foam, actually the same foam that we discussed in the Carbon X3, to really make it the most propulsive version of the Mach yet. It actually fits really similarly to the Mach 4, as I mentioned, and the weight is nearly the same. It's only 0.1 ounces more, coming in at 8.3 for men, 6.9 for women. And honestly, we can probably just blame this really cool new pull tab for that 0.1 difference. That just helps you get in and out of the shoe more easily. This shoe is going to be available on March 15th, and it's going to retail for $150. We're super excited. So that concludes our road running portion of our Hoka presentation. Next, I'm going to transition over to Jared to talk us through 3 new exciting shoes for the trail.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Emily. Yeah, moving from the road to the trail where the brand was born, excited to walk through 3 updates for spring 22. And to start things off, I'm going to start with one of Hoka's legacy styles on the trail is the Speed Goat. And in its 5th iteration, we're really getting after using what has worked so well for the Speed Goat. So not moving away from the overall DNA of the Speed Goat, but really cranking up in the small details to make this the go-to or the goat of the trail, if you will. So breaking the shoe down from the ground up where you interface the trail to where you lace up. Looking at the outsole, we're utilizing the same Vibram Mega Grip compound on the outsole, and we've added a new piece of technology that Vibram is offering is called Traction Lug. And it's essentially, it's a micro textured component that circumnavigates each of the lugs, increasing the surface area of where the lug interfaces the ground to improve traction by roughly 20%. So again, looking at these small details where we can improve on the style season over season. Moving into the midsole, we're using a new lightweight foam. You've seen this foam before. It's been in the Evo Speed Goat. We're taking a few lessons from that style and integrating it into the inline Speed Goat itself. So really getting after weight savings, but lightweight and responsive cushion. Moving into the upper, we've really looked at how we could strip things back, ensure it's still comfortable, breathable, and durable. So we removed a lot of the overlays that have been used in prior versions, but are still getting after that same great foot lockdown, using good durability and also integrating some recycled content within the upper construction. So this upper is constructed using some recycled RPET thread within the upper of the Creel Jacquard. Looking at the toe down, you're going to see some similar features to that of the Evo Speedgoat as well. Is the dynamic vamp here is used to allow the foot to splay a little bit more as you're moving throughout the trail. And some of those longer runs, the foot swell happens, so providing a little bit of that accommodating room right in the forefoot. Moving into the tongue, a nice, smooth, lay flat tongue, integrating a textured microfiber element right at the top of the tongue, so it lays flat and comfortable right across the top of the foot in the instep. And then back here at the heel, we've added a bolstered heel collar construction to really ensure that the foot is locked in and secure and comfortable for all those miles out on the trail. This is a style that we'll introduce in spring 22 at a price of $155, and really excited for this update. All right, from a legacy style to a brand new style, and a style that is using so much of what Hoka has come to know, or as many of you have come to know from Hoka, is innovation. So we've used our innovation team and our design and development teams to bring the first carbon fiber plated shoe to the trail. And we're doing it in a very thoughtful and considered way. So I'll get to that in just a second, but also starting from the ground up, we're integrating elements of Vibram's technology. So using Vibram Mega Grip compound, but using light base. And light base is a thinner overall profile of the construction, so a lighter weight. And you're still using that Mega Grip compound, so great traction on wet and dry surfaces with a 4mm lug to really get after that traction out on the trail. Now moving into the midsole, this is where the story is. We're using a similar setup in terms of the 2 layers that you'd see on the Carbon X that Emily spoke about earlier, and using a similar compound. So we're using that new super lightweight and responsive foam on the bottom layer. In between that, we have 2 parallel carbon fiber plates that run from toe to heel in parallel and are essentially set up as like a strut system. So you have that great propulsion while moving forward, but you're able to move dynamically and interface the trail for those technical sections off camber and not have it be dictating too much. So you still have great forward propulsion, but can move in a dynamic fashion laterally and interface different elements on the trail. Looking at that top layer, it's going to be our lightweight super cushion foam. So a nice plush and cushion experience directly underfoot. Moving into the upper, a similar strip back approach to construction, not a lot of overlays due to considered construction and also integrating some recycled components to the textile construction. Looking at the vamp, we're going to have a similar construction using that slightly dynamic vamp element to provide that accommodation in the forefoot for splay during toe off and overall comfortable fit. Looking at the upper and tongue construction is going to be somewhat similar to that of the Speedgoat, using that lay flat gusseted construction so that it really locks the foot in. Nice microfiber finish across the top of the tongue, interfacing with the foot, and a similar bolstered heel collar construction to really lock the foot into this very propulsive and fast shoe out on the trail. Excited for the Tecton X to launch in spring of 22 at a price of $200. Last but not least, moving from ultimate speed to ultimate cushion and weight to cushion ratios in the Kaha 2 Gore-Tex. The Kaha 2 was introduced in 2019 and really shifted the whole idea of what comfort on the trail can look like in a hiking boot. As I started, weight to cushion ratio is really something that we got after here, and you've seen similar designs from Hoka in the in the 10.9 hike, and we've taken some cues in that overall geometry and construction, looking at the midsole. So I'll start at the outsole and speak to the Vibram Mega Grip compound, similar that I've spoke to in the previous 2 styles. So great traction, wet and dry, We've also integrated the traction lug here, so increased surface space. So overall, a more rubber on the ground, providing better traction. In the midsole, we have two components using a bottom layer midsole of rubberized EVA, so nice, durable, and responsive traction. And then that top layer of the midsole integrating a really soft and plush comfort underfoot. You see that similar swallowtail construction that we spoke about in the Mach Supersonic, as well as is featured in the 10.9 Hike. Moving into the upper, we've added some different elements of consideration in the materialization and construction. So for durability and stability, a nice rubberized toe cap with stitching to provide that protection and support. Moving into the overall upper and the waterproof feature of Gore-Tex, we've integrated waterproof technology called leaf membrane construction from Gore-Tex, and it integrates 71% rPET textile in the overall construction. And then looking at the lacing is articulated with some quick lace loops to really customize that fit on the foot to ensure that comfort for those long miles. And finally, in that heel, we've got a nice heel padded construction with articulated Achilles to provide great support and flexibility as you're descending out on the trail. So all in all, this is the pinnacle of comfort and cushion out on the trail with the Kaha 2 Gore-Tex. This will intro in spring of 22 at a price of $240. So that wraps up the majority of the updates that we're bringing to you today. There's plenty more, but I will open it up if there are any questions. I didn't see any in the chat. So if there are anybody that has questions, happy to field those now.
And while those questions come in, I can maybe give a few little brand updates that we have as well. First, although we didn't have a chance to get to it today, Hoka has a lot of really great apparel that we would love to get out there in front of you guys if you're interested. Hoka has been in the apparel game for about 2 years now, and we just launched a really exciting trail specific collection. And so I put a few of our favorites in the media kit if you want to check them out. If you have any questions, definitely reach out directly as well. Also, on the partnership side of things, something that we're really excited about for Hoka is that we just announced that Hoka is the new premier partner for UTMB. And if you guys aren't already familiar with UTMB, it is basically the Super Bowl of the trail running world. Like, trail runners all over the place qualify and travel into this really small town in the Alps, Chamonix, to run around this incredible mountain called Mont Blanc. And it's just this really incredible moment for trail running, and it's a really incredible opportunity for Hoka. And so we're really excited to be a part of it. If you want to learn more, there's a press release in the media kit. And again, we're here to answer any questions. And now I'm seeing a bunch of questions filter in through the chat, so we can address those now as well.
Jump into a couple of them, I think. We've got one for the Tecton, the top foam, Sam. The top foam on the Tecton is going to be very similar to what you've seen in the Clifton Edge. So that really lightweight and soft plush experience underfoot, really getting after that for that foot contact. And then that new lightweight, highly responsive, our lightest and most responsive foam is that ground contact or that bottom layer for the Tecton. Additionally, I saw a question on the stack heights here. Stack height is 30, 20, excuse me, I'm sorry, let me just get this right. I had it and then I lost it, 32.27. So it's a 5 mil drop on the Tecton X. Will the Kaha 2 be available in a non-Gore-Tex? Great question, Bob. We're working at integrating non-Gore-Tex styles into the line. And for spring 22, they're not available at this point, but stay tuned. There's more to come in fall. So I don't want to open the door too much, but stay tuned. We'll say that.
Stay tuned for sure. It's so hard not to tell you guys what's coming. It's awesome. We also got a UTMB question here. Is Hoka sponsoring all of the UTMB races? Yes. And there's now a whole kind of like World Series to qualify that Hoka is going to be sponsoring and be a part of as well. So yeah, we're in it in a big way.
let's see, the pop-up store in New York City. It is currently open, and I believe the plan for that is still ongoing. So I don't have any additional details that I can share here today, but stay tuned to Hoka's Instagram and Hoka's Twitter. Those updates will come through as they're available.
And that's a great point too. If you guys aren't already familiar, Hoka does have 2 retail pop-up locations, one in LA and one in New York City. It's a really, really great chance to check out all of the new products and just see what's going on with the brand in person.
Let's see, I think there was one. Yeah, so Justin, the launch dates will be on the media kit. So those will be available, I think, on that link that we can share there. Let's see.
How is the Kaha different from the Anacapa? That's a great question.
Yeah, so the Anacapa is a little bit of a lighter weight expression of what the Kaha holds. So if you kind of look at similarly to what we discuss on the road with the Bondi and the Clifton, you could kind of articulate them in a similar way. Both have great Hoka cushioning. One comes in at a slightly lighter weight. One is a little bit more of a slimmer shoe. So similar idea in the macro, if I can say it that way, between the Bondi and the Clifton and the Kaha and the Anacapa.
Awesome. And we got a question about the drop on the second shoe. I hope that we're talking about this one. This is the Carbon X3. If this isn't it, Katie, definitely let me know because I'm happy to provide more drops as well. The drop for this one is 5 millimeters. It's 32 in the back, 27 in the front.
Got a question from
Lawrence. Sorry.
The 10.9, yeah. There's more to come on that. I don't have anything to share with the broader audience today, so I will just say please stay tuned. That will come through as we can share. Sam, great question on the Kaha upper. Is more akin to the overall height and fit of what we saw in the Kaha 1, but we've really focused on how that fit can be customized and took a look at what was happening around the Achilles at the back, that articulation and overall comfort, especially while you're descending. And then providing those different opportunities with the quick lace closures right at the top to really customize that fit top of foot.
Can we talk about the use case and typical user of the Kawana? Of course. So this, again, is really a great road running shoe for anyone, anywhere who wants that soft ride that can go the distance. Again, I think where people will love this the most is probably a more urban runner who wants a really great do-it-all shoe to go straight from your run to the gym, to go about your day, because it looks great, but it also has a really durable foam. So it will, it'll feel good all day long. Awesome. And do we have launch dates for the trail shoes? That is a great question. So I think we do have launch dates for all of the shoes that we presented today, but it's worth noting that although we feel really confident about the launch dates today, it can be a bit of a moving target as we've all grown accustomed to. But the specific dates for the trail shoes are, I think all of them launch in March with the exception of the Tecton X, which I believe is in May.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, that concludes our presentation. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We so appreciate you all. And we're really excited to move into the next presentation.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Hello, everyone. It's Gordon here. Let me see if I can start my video. Yes.